with the US-Iran peace talks?
Well, that is the question that I think everyone is asking right now. Where are we with that? Remember that yesterday we had this statement from the Iranian Revolutionary Guard saying that Iran considers the crossing of red lines in Lebanon and Gaza to mean direct war. That was why they were pulling out of the talks. Then shortly after that, there was a quote from the Iranian Foreign Minister Syed Abbas Araghchi saying that a ceasefire between Iran and the US is unequivocally a ceasefire on all fronts, including in Lebanon. This is stacking the pressure on the US, saying, look, Donald Trump's been acting as a firewall between Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, and the Iranian leadership to continue Benjamin Netanyahu with its attacks in southern Lebanon. As far as Iran is concerned, that is now over, especially since Netanyahu announced he was going to start attacking these suburbs of southern Beirut, which is why the Iranians were pulling out of these talks to put the pressure on Benjamin Netanyahu and the pressure on Donald Trump, which appears to have worked, for, as we heard from that phone call between Netanyahu and Trump yesterday. I think there are also mixed messages coming out of the United States from Donald Trump saying that no, that the talks are going hastily and that things are going as normal. So it's a very confusing situation right now, Stuart. We don't know exactly what is happening. But I think where we stand with this is that Iran believes that it can still buy more time from Donald Trump. And Donald Trump, for once, is replying by saying, well, I'm not in a hurry either, and I can wait. And he knows that Iran is trying to buy time, but it hasn't got all the time on its side because Iran has got this blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. This is affecting the Iranian economy. So they can hold out for a while, but they can't hold out forever. And Donald Trump knows that. But whereas Iran is saying, well, we can hold out because we know Donald Trump has got a time clock over his head with the upcoming midterm elections. He has the G7 summit coming up. He also has the World Cup football competition coming up. He wants the Iran war out of the way as quickly as possible. So I think it's a play for time on both sides. We'll see who gives in first as far as all of this is concerned. But behind the scenes, it appears that there are discussions still taking place. And that even though there's a lot of rhetoric about, no, we're not playing game anymore, we're not doing this, we're not doing that, there is still the memorandum of understanding, which is still being discussed, which is talks about an eventual ceasefire. So I don't think that there is completely an end of all talks between the two sides. But certainly, I think each side is playing the other to see how far they can go and what they can pull out of the situation to their advantage.
He might want it out of the way, but there is a real risk, isn't there, at this stage, Philip, that this whole process could just grind to a complete halt? I mean, do you think there could ever be a stage where we actually see a resumption of US bombing?
Well, in theory, yes, we could see a resumption of attacks, but I really don't think at the moment that it's in either side's interest to do that. The United States has made it pretty clear it doesn't want to go back to bombing Iran. It's threatened to do it on numerous occasions. But remember, the war in Iran is vastly unpopular with US voters. Over 60% think that it was an error to declare war on Iran. So Donald Trump doesn't want to say, well, all my efforts to obtain a ceasefire have come to nothing, so we're going back to bomb the Iranian regime all over again. And it's not in Iran's interest either that these bombing raids begin again, because they have more to lose from that. But it's always in the background that the final straw could be a return to these bombing raids. I think that the discussions are still centering on the same points: the opening of the Strait of Hormuz, an end to Iran's nuclear program. Those are the 2 points the US has been pushing forward. As far as the Iranians are concerned, what they want is the unfreezing of Iranian assets, certainly $2 billion in the United States, a lifting of sanctions against Iran, and an end to the Israeli actions in southern Lebanon. They've made some progress on that in the last 24 hours. But the bottom line is these discussions are stalling. Trump says they're going quickly. Iran says they're not going anywhere. So we might see what happens in the next 24 hours. But this is a very fast-changing story, and it's also extremely confusing to try and keep tabs on it.
Philip, thanks very much. Turle, International Affairs Editor here on France 24.